This is the new Mac Pro, and it's incredible.
Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, coming to you live via the way of recording here with my camera at WWDC 2019 here in San Jose. That is the Apple Worldwide Developers Conference 2019. This is where they just announced the Apple Mac Pros and new displays. Now, before I get into all the specs, I got invited by Apple PR to come out here and join the keynote, or to observe it. And I took that opportunity to come here and get close up with this new Mac Pro. Now, it's pretty cool because after they announced it, I went across the street to where they were demonstrating it, where you couldn't touch it. But it was pretty cool because Tim Cook and Johnny Ive actually came over at that time and were observing. And Tim Cook was getting an explanation of how everything worked as if he actually never saw this computer before from Johnny Ive, which was actually pretty cool.
The fact that the so once you've taken it off, if it wasn't sort of supported.
So let's take a first look at the new cheese grater, which is what everybody's going to call it because it absolutely looks like a cheese grater. I honestly thought when they showed it that it was going to be a joke and then they were going to show the real computer, but no, it actually has a cheese grater design that helps with the flow of heat to help dissipate the heat. This is a massive machine. Top level specs. This is a super upgradable computer. It is so much bigger than the old trash can version. It has a 1.4 kilowatt power supply, 2933 megahertz ECC memory. You have 8 internal PCI slots, 4 double wide slots, 3 single wide slots. You can get up to 4 terabytes of internal storage. You have up to 1.5 terabytes of RAM, which is going to cost you a pretty penny. Intel Xeon processors with up to 28 freaking cores. Multiple graphic options, up to 4 GPUs. This is the most expandable Mac ever, as well as the most powerful one ever. Now, there are 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, a 3.5 millimeter audio jack, 2 USB-A ports, 2 10 gigabit Ethernet ports, but there are also 2 more Thunderbolt 3s on top of the tower. Now, Apple built a brand new video decoder card called an Afterburner for video editing. It super accelerates everything. It allows you to edit ProRes codec, 6 billion pixels per second. You can run 3 streams of 8K at the same time without any issues, or 12 streams of 4K. Oh yeah, you can get optional wheels if you'd like to ride it around. That would be great. And it also has stainless steel handles if you want to carry it around. It is heavy. It's almost like the Stanley Cup. It weighs in at 40 pounds. That is heavy. Like, you could raise the cup. The Stanley Cup weighs something like 36.5 pounds. This thing weighs more than the Stanley Cup. Now, for the price, it starts at $59.99 for the basic configuration, which has 8 cores, 32 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs SSD, AMD Radeon Pro 580 graphics card, and it's available in fall. Now, there's no word on how much more expensive it will go if you max it out, but there's no other configurations that you can do just now. But for $6,000, that's what you get an iMac Pro for, and all you're missing this time is just the display. Most people don't need that 27-inch display in the Pro. I mean, for $6,000, yeah, it's expensive, but you want a Pro machine, you're gonna start at $6,000, and then you're gonna go way up from there. I bet you're topping out in the $20,000 to almost $30,000 range if you max this thing out. And as a lot of pros were hoping, a new display was announced. There's a 32-inch Pro XDR monitor. That's the cheese grater edition as well. Just look at the back of it. Look at all the holes in the grates. It's pretty damn insane and impressive to look at in person. And this is an insane display. 6K 10-bit HDR Retina display, and they say it's far beyond HDR. It's Extreme Dynamic Range XDR. Now, what they said is that an HDR monitor from somebody like Sony is $43,000 for something similar. This is gonna be priced yet less than that, and I'll get to that in a second. It has 1,000 nits of brightness, 1,600 nits of peak brightness, 1,000,000 to 1 contrast ratio. It also has 25 times better off-axis contrast than the typical LCD screen, so if you're looking at it at an extreme angle, you'll still see the great contrast. They also put a special coating on it, so it's anti-glare. There's less glare than traditional monitors. A lot of people like to have that option because if you're in front of a window or near windows, you don't want to get glare in the way. Now, if you want to edit portrait mode, it can rotate portrait mode as well. Now, the stand alone is gonna sell for $1,000. $1,000 for this. I mean, it's a beautiful stand. Just look at it. When you look at it, it's $1,000 for that stand. The monitor starts at $49.99 for the monitor. So is that expensive for a display? Yes, and it gets even more expensive. You can add another $1,000 if you're in extreme viewing environments, as well as the $1,000 stand. This is a pro monitor. I honestly don't think I'm gonna pick one up unless they wanna let me borrow one for a while, because it's $6 grand. I'd rather buy 2 computers, one for me or both of the editors back home. I mean, this is a start. This is what a lot of people have been waiting for. We've been waiting for pro machines for our video editing capabilities, so we can just work smarter, work quicker, work better. If you're a video editor, if you do a ton of 4K, if you're doing 8K these days, this is going to be the beast that you want. Starts at $6 grand, looks like a cheese grater, has wheels, can carry it around, it's 40 pounds, it's very heavy, but you're gonna spec it out. Anybody have any guesses on what the most expensive spec'd out version of this Mac Pro is gonna be? Leave some comments down below with what you think that's gonna be, and let me know. Are you interested in this? I know this is really a pro machine, so if you're not a pro and you can't afford it, of course it's not for you, but this is something that I will be purchasing. Not sure in the configuration just yet for the factory, but I will be getting Steven or Dan or both of them to one of these to edit on, and maybe I'll get one for myself, who knows. But I want to thank Apple for allowing me to come out and inviting me to this press event, and I want to thank you guys for taking a first look with me at this new computer. Thank you very much for watching. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.
People still don't get how a lot of this stuff down. The fact that we can actually stand. So once you've taken it off, if it wasn't self-supporting, you wouldn't know what to do with this. Or the lean itself. But I love that you can just take it off and then just it stands by itself, and then you've got that crazy access.
I love the increasing need for airflow.
You know, we started that on for the that's when that idea started. That's how long. That's how long. Because you increase the effective open area by making it so three-dimensional, so it's based on hemispheres. Yeah, but we did it with the screw at the top. So if you remember, it was convection.
That's right.
And so we had to have massive open areas. So, sorry, no, it was just that approach at the top of the
Adjacent to the DVD.
That's right. Yeah,
Well, yeah, I do.
in between.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Johnny, Tim, show us a smile here.